One of the significant things about an IVIC, remember that an IVIC is an individual variable insurance contract, okay, is that we have what's called a reset provision. It's very, very unique to insurance company products, and particularly the segregated fund products, okay, is that we have a reset provision. Now, in order for you to get the full understanding of what we're talking, once again, I'm going to ask you to download the fact sheet for here because there is an actual table in your fact sheet that you can follow along. I'm just going to give you a sort of abbreviated version of that particular fact sheet, and hopefully you'll understand what I'm driving at. Okay. Remember again that we're talking here in terms of maturity date. So this whole reset aspect of it also has to do with maturity date and the death benefit guarantees, basically. So the maturity date, remember, is always that 10 years from that last deposit. So here, what we're saying is, how is it that I, as an individual contract holder, could in fact capture my gain? So the purpose of resetting is really to capture the gain that you've actually made. In most products, as you know, markets go up, markets go down, and depending on when you in actual fact cash out, you'll get whatever the market value happens to be. In an IVIC, in actual fact, you have the opportunity to actually capture the gain so that in the event that there is going to be a downturn, what in fact will happen is you're not going to be impacted at all. You're going to capture that gain. So here's a typical example of basically a reset provision. Now remember, now we're talking about maturity and we're also talking about the death benefit guarantee. They both get impacted by the reset provision. So I'm just going to give you a very, very quick, and I say simplified version of what we're talking about when we're saying resets and everything. Again, please make sure you have that fact sheet in front of you because it'll make it much easier for you to follow. I'm just using an example of June the year 2000, basically. You gave me $100,000. So obviously, then 10 years down the line is June 2010 is your maturity date. So therefore, everything is fine. And let's assume you never, ever touch this thing at all. Therefore, 10 years down the line, if it's a 75% guarantee, the worst thing that's going to happen is I have to give you 75% of that $100,000. I give you more, obviously, if it's more, but if it's less, you're not going to get anything less than 75%. But let's assume now November comes along, you get a statement from your insurance company and it says, listen, your $100,000 is now going to $103,000. And you sort of basically leave it alone. You don't touch it or anything. However, April, you get a statement. Let's just say that this was year 2001, just for argument's sake. April 2001, you receive a statement and you notice that you have $127,000 grown. Now you want to capture that gain. You don't want to be in a situation where the market goes the other way, you lose that money. So what do? You do what's called a reset. So you phone the insurance company, basically, and say, I want to reset my contract. The moment you reset that contract, now the anniversary date of this money is no longer 2010. It's going to be 2011. In other words, you've moved that anniversary date. So from the date that you, in fact, make that reset, whether it's deposit-based or whether it's policy-based, doesn't matter. The point is the reset now moves the maturity date to 10 years from that reset date. So in our example, April 2001, you saw it with $127,000. Well, now your maturity date has shifted from 2010, is shifted to 2011. Let's further assume that in September you come along and it was 02, again for argument's sake, and $141,000, you say, great, I'm going to reset all over again. So once again, you phone the company up, say I want to reset. Okay. By doing that, once again, that anniversary date now is no longer going to be 2011. It now shifts over to 2012. So moral of the story basically is that resets are wonderful because you can capture the actual gain, but one of the drawbacks to that reset is that the maturity dates actually change from that date of reset. So here, October, let's say, of 02, you get a statement in, for whatever reason, it tanked to 104,000. Obviously, you're not going to reset at that point. You're going to keep it at that point. So therefore, this doesn't change. Okay, so that doesn't change. So resets do change the maturity date. From the date of reset, move it down to 10 years. So basically what we're saying in this example here, okay, if this was a 75% guarantee, a worst case scenario is you're going to get 75% of $141,000, which in our example here was roughly about $106,000. So in your fact sheet, you'll see the 75% of that was $106,000. So a worst case scenario is that 10 years down the line, again, in 2012 in our example here, okay, you would in fact have a 75% as a minimum guarantee. A worst case scenario is you're going to get $106,000, not that 141. Obviously, if it's more, you're going to get more, but you're never going to get anything less. So the beauty of a reset, like I said, is that you capture the gain. The drawback of the reset, of course, is that you're moving your maturity date. Whether it be a deposit-based or a policy-based, doesn't matter. You're moving the maturity date, basically 10 years from the date that you actually reset. So you have to be careful to make sure that the maturity date coincides with the date that you actually want to take the money out. And remember also that along the way, the death benefit will also be affected here as well. So as you're moving the maturity date, if you died anytime within that maturity period, okay, that 10-year period of time, once again, it'd be 75%, for example, if the death benefit is 75%, it'd be 75% of $141,000. So once again, if you died along the way, the worst case scenario in this example is that you're going to get $106,000. So once again, please look at that fact sheet, follow through with the material very, very carefully, and you'll see the benefits of, in fact, using the reset option.